everybody, and welcome back to the Traveling Cookie. In the last episode, we talked a little bit about where I'm from, my date of birth, my early childhood experiences, and the experiences that I had throughout middle school and high school and my first operation, and what I learned from it. Well, today I want to talk about the second operation, about what happened during it. Well, the second operation happened a year later after the first one, and honestly, I wasn't too surprised, and I wasn't too worried either, because I already had gone through it once. I said, I already survived this once. If this is gonna happen again, I'll survive it. I already did once, right? So my second operation wasn't meant to be an operation per se. It was supposed to be an exploratory operation. They just wanted to enter my ear because in the first operation they had to reconstruct my ear because the tumor had eaten everything inside and had my my facial nerves exposed. So they just wanted to check up on it because the CT scans, when they did it, they couldn't find anything abnormal because there was already an abnormality in my ear, which was having it remade. Well, they started the exploratory surgery. Again, this was very near my birthday. I don't remember the exact date, but it was about this September 9th, September 10th, something like that. And I remember being told, this is just going to be a couple hours. Don't worry, it's not going to happen anything. We're just going to explore it, see what is going on, but you'll be fine. When I woke up, everything wasn't fine. I woke up, I was completely restrained to the bed. I had a tube going down my throat to help me breathe. And I saw my mom to my right side crying and praying. When I finally came about and I was finally fully conscious, I asked my mom what happened. And she and the doctor told me, well, you died. So apparently what happened was that my second operation, this was a year after, by the way, after the first one. My second operation, they found out I had a tumor. It had come back. It was a benign tumor, but this tumor was somehow going through to a canal to my brain. So when they got it, they were actually they had to operate in the moment because they said, if we don't operate now, he could have brain damage. Because that tumor was going to my brain, was en route to my brain, and was there to actually, it was going to give me damage in my brain. So they decided to operate me on the spot. They bring me more anesthesia, but I had an adverse reaction to the anesthesia and I died for 2 minutes. I was dead for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. They bring me back to life. And when they were telling me the story, a lot of things started to make sense because I shortly remember feeling very aggressive, very angry, very raged, and hitting someone. But I didn't understand what that memory was just because it was so fuzzy and it felt like a dream. Well, they told me that the reason they had to restrain me was because when they gave me the anesthesia and brought me back to life, I hit a nurse. I started fighting, I hit a nurse, I started screaming. They had to go ahead and restrain me so that they could actually operate me. So that happened, I died. I came to the realization, I'm like, oh my God, I just died. They told me everything was going to be fine, that nothing bad was going to happen, and I died. Well, I had a lot to think about. I've had a lot of time to think about that moment. And I learned that needed to happen. I've learned over my years that nothing is a coincidence. Everything happens for a reason. Well, actually, there was a very important lesson that I had to learn that day. The lesson I had to learn that day was tomorrow doesn't exist. Because we always wake up in the morning saying, yep, just another normal day, going to work or going to school. And we think that waking up is mandatory. Waking up is a right, that we have the right to wake up, but that's not true. What I learned from it is that waking up is a gift. Being able to wake up every single morning is a gift. And being grateful for being able to wake up. You don't know how much you value being able to wake up in the morning till you have died on the table or died sleeping and been brought back. And being told, hey, you died on your sleep or while you were unconscious. And I learned during that moment, I said, oh my God, I have to do something about this. I have to bring something, leave something behind. This is where everything sparked. All of this that I've done in my life, choosing the career that I have, choosing to start a coaching business, choosing to take 4 years to myself, to self-development, and actually starting my YouTube channel, all sparked because of the realization I need to give out my best possible version to the world. Because the world deserves the best version of me. Earlier today, I was actually doing some DoorDash, and I go to this business, and I see the person in the front that was working, and she was pissed off. And I tell her, hey, you look kind of bored. I'm like, well, I'm more annoyed. I'm like, well, why? She goes like, well, one of my coworkers. I'm like, yeah, I understand that. Completely understandable. And I told her, do you mind if I give you a point of view? I'm like, sure. Out of 7 billion peoples, out of 7 billion humans in this world, are you really gonna let one damage your day? And she goes to me, starts smiling and laughing. She says, you know what? I love that. I'm gonna use that. And I go like, perfect. And the reason why I decided to talk to this girl is because I said, if the world deserves the best version of me, that means that I need to be able to give the best version of me to everybody. Even doing something as simple as doing DoorDash, just talking to the people around you and just hearing them out and giving them advice can make their day. I made that person smile, and I was so happy to have made that person smile. It was so fulfilling just doing that, and it made my day. Honestly, it did. Now, obviously, after the second operation happened, I started getting PTSD. PTSD, for those who don't know, stands for post-traumatic stress disorder. And the PTSD is normally related with a lot of soldiers when they come back from war or from battle. Well, my PTSD was actually caused by my operations, by the stress, the psychological stress of my operations, and the fear that came from knowing that I had died. Well, after that day, I had the PTSD that every day on my birthday, I would feel pain in this ear, that was the one that was operated. I would feel pain. I would feel depressed. I would feel sad. I would feel fear. And every day for the next 2 years after that, I felt so bad on the day of my birthday. I didn't want to celebrate. I didn't celebrate my birthday. I didn't want to. Just because that brought me that bad experience. Now, added to that, of course, I also had bullying going on in high school. Well, I wasn't physically bullied, in a sense. I was very emotionally bullied and psychologically bullied. For a lot of the time in my period in high school, I was bullied by being told that I wasn't enough, by being ridiculed for being smarter than other people, for being good in my classes, They wouldn't let me play basketball. They wouldn't let me play anything with any of the other kids. And all I wanted was to have friends. All I wanted was to just enjoy that period of playing basketball and whatnot, but nobody wanted to play with me. Nobody wanted to let me play with them. And I started getting depression from it, from being excluded from activities. I would have instances where the people in my grade, the kids, they would have birthday parties inside the school. They would have their parents bring a cake for another kid. I was never invited. Inside the school. During the same period, free time that I had during my lunch period, being in the same grade, the same classroom, I wasn't invited. And if I even got inside, they would either ignore me or kick me out. And it just was very, very depressing to deal with. But after that, I got to know my first martial arts teacher. And he taught me kickboxing and Shotokan karate. He started me with Shotokan karate and kickboxing, right? I would take lessons outside of school because he was actually an instructor inside the school. And I would actually go ahead and take classes outside of school as well. And I started learning a lot of martial arts. I kept it, I loved it. To this day, I still practice the martial arts. Well, one day, that martial arts became my best friend. Why? Because one of my bullies went to ridicule me before class. And he says, "Oh, martial arts, that's stupid. Because nowadays anybody can pick up a gun and point it to your head and kill you like this." And he goes ahead, he points his finger like if it was a gun. And I had learned a technique to actually disarm the guy. So I go ahead, I perform the technique. And I lock him in the floor. I made a lock where he could not breathe. And I kept him on that lock till he nearly passed out. Afterwards, I let him go. He stood up angrily. I looked at him, told him, "Next time, they're gonna have to call the ambulance. Because I'm not gonna let go before you pass out. I'm gonna let you pass out." They wanted to remove me from the school, but obviously he started the aggression first, so they couldn't actually go ahead and do that. By the way, this video is going to be a little bit longer because I want you guys to have the most amount of information from my story as possible. So I'm going to make this video a little bit longer for you guys. But the thing that I learned from martial arts and the thing that I learned about actually doing that was I have power. I felt like I had the power to do anything in the world. It felt so exciting to know that I could defeat my bully. It felt so exciting to feel that I wasn't powerless. And that got me through my depression, knowing that I was not powerless. I was not the guy, the kid that they told me that I was, the worthless kid that I was. Well, it wasn't true, and I figured that out after that moment. And I even had an instance where we had another birthday party and they brought a cake. And ironically, this girl had the same birthday as I did, September 10th. And that day they bring a cake. They celebrate her birthday, but exclude me completely being in the same classroom. But I thought, you know what? I don't need people like this to make me happy. I don't need them to acknowledge my birthday. I don't care if they do or not. So I didn't. I just sat in my desk, waiting for class to start. But then these guys go ahead and pull one off. They take the cake after everybody has had cake except for me. They take all the frosting off the cake. And they take the cake to me and just drop it in my desk. As if they were saying that I was a worthless piece of, you know, the rest. And I quickly stood up and went to a corner because I was furious. But I said, do not act. My mind kept going, do not act when you're angry. Think first. Took a deep breath. I was very angry, took a deep breath and stopped. So I waited. I said, I'm not going to let this one pass. And I didn't. So I go ahead and wait till the end of school. And I give the guy a call, my bully. And I told him, next time you do that, I do not care what they do to me in school, but I will make sure that you are on the ground, beat up, even if it cost me being expelled from the school. And he starts saying, oh, it wasn't me, it was this guy that did this guy. Well, and I told him, you know what? The next time I'll beat up the three of you. Now, I don't want to condone violence. I'm not saying that if you're being bullied, hit your bully. No, quite the contrary. Be greater. I truly believe that if you want to be the change, if you want to see some less bullying, you have to stop it on its tracks. And I did exactly that. I didn't act upon my anger. I gave him a warning. Now, would he have done it again? Possibly, I would have hit him. Because the thing that I learned from that is that when you have self-worth, when you know how much you are worth, nobody can tell you anything about who you are or how much you're worth, because you know what you're worth. Don't let anybody ever tell you that you are not enough. Don't let anybody ever tell you that you're not worth it, or that you're weak, or pathetic, or dumb, or ugly, or whatever they tell you, because you are not. There's a quote that says, I am not who I think I am. I am not who you think I am. I am who I think you think I am. And it's this concept about thinking, if we think that other people think of us as dumb or stupid or ugly, we think of ourselves as dumb, stupid, or ugly. But if you can get off that mentality and that mindfulness, that mindset, and say, I am enough. I am beautiful. I am handsome. I am confident. I am strong. I am smart. And keep telling you that once, every single day, over and over again, you'll start to believe it. In the next video, we're going to be talking about the start of my college life, the lessons I've learned from my college life, and what brought me to the present here from being from Puerto Rico and moving to the United States. I will also be bringing a video later on about the power of autosuggestion. If you want to start ahead before you have to wait for my video to come out, I would recommend you buy and read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That's an amazing book, really amazing book. And I'm not being sponsored or anything for the book, but it's just a book that I just love so much. And the third chapter is about the power of autosuggestion. I will be talking about that topic in a later video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope to see you guys in the next video. And remember, be the change you want to see. Virtual high five, everybody.